Welcome, everyone. Please have a chair and a yoga strap or something that can function as a yoga strap, a, a towel or a belt. Oh, also a pillow or a very thick blanket. We're going to begin with our feet on a chair in cobbler's pose on our back. So I'll demo it. Coming down onto your back, bringing the backs of the legs on the chair, feet together, knees wide. Arms come out away from the body, palms facing up. Feeling your breath. Letting your body sink into the floor. And in particular, the weight of your pelvis. Feel it heavy on the floor. Letting your belly get soft, your pelvic floor relax. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and let it out. You can keep the eyes open or closed. And just checking in with your experience right now. And just knowing that whatever you're experiencing, it will change. And I invite you throughout the practice this morning to uh, let your yoga practice also be a contemplation about how things just change. Trying on what's it feel like when I come back to remembering that everything changes, nothing's static, everything is in process, just like the breath, continually coming in and out. And then let's just also mark the beginning of our practice with an Om. So exhale to prepare. Big breath in. Bringing the knees together. Swing your arms out wide. Now the arms are in a T shape. And then drawing the knees into the chest and let them come over to your left side, coming into a twist. So legs come off the chair now, coming into a tight little twist. Legs are bent and stacked. Walk your shoulder blades together underneath you and turn your head to the right. Stay here for one more round of breath. And then slowly coming back through center. And then other side, kicking the legs over to your right, coming into a twist. It's okay if the legs don't completely stack. Just let this pose be nice and easy, spacious, just warming up. Broad chest, shoulder blades moving back and down, and then turning the head to the left. Steady breath. So, at any point in this practice, if you find that your mind starts to wander to what came before, or will come after this class, or anything that maybe your mind habitually wanders towards, I invite you to instead let your point of focus be um, remembering that everything changes. And then rolling onto your right side, you're going to stay in a fetal position on your right side as we do a little bit of work to warm up our hips. Feel free to stuff a pillow or anything you need underneath your head. You can just support your head with your arms if you like. And then knees bent, heels, feet kind of in line with your spine. So they're not bent too far forward or back. A nice long line from the top of your head, hips, and feet. And then imagine your legs are like clams. We've done this one before. Opening the clam, feet stay together, and slowly closing the clam. Just like that, opening and closing. Continue on. And just notice sometimes there's a tendency to go really fast. You might feel more, well, you will feel more sensation if you go slow. Just opening and closing. Hips are stacked, shoulders stacked. And now let's go the other direction. We're going to imagine that there's a hinge at our knees and our leg is like a door. Our top leg is a door. So knees stay together, just lifting the top foot. Thighs are touching and then lowering the top foot. Again, knees together. Doesn't matter how high that foot gets. And lower. Bring your top hand to your hip and just notice as you continue to move, is the rest of your body moving with you? I'd like you to isolate this movement in your hip joint. And if that means the foot doesn't lift so high, that's totally cool. We are simply just lifting the back foot, warming up the hips, and lowering the back foot. We're just looking for sensation, continuing to breathe. And if you don't find this pleasurable or there's burning, come back to remembering this will change. We won't be doing this forever. And then let's do one more. Feet together. Now let's just take the top arm and big circles, just circling the top arm, just warming it up. Big circles. Whoop. And as you do this, this is your opportunity to give your top arm, your top shoulder a morning stretch. So really get into it. Just, oh, maybe you want to roll your wrist as you do it. What feels pleasurable? You could link the movement with your breath in a way that makes sense to you. Let's go the other direction. Keep your head heavy. And maybe it's not a circle. Maybe it's more like the letter D or some weird oval shape. This is all about just feeling good in the shoulder and the arm. Could be a small circle. Good. And then let's come onto our back. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Doing my favorite pose, bridge pose. So good for your rear. So good for the backs of the legs. So heels underneath hips, arms alongside the body. On an inhale, lift your hips. On the exhale, let's roll down the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Tummy in, press the low back to the mat. That was the exhale. Now the inhale, lift back up. Can you go backwards, lifting, rolling up the spine? And then exhale, rolling down. Keep moving with your breath, nice and slow, and really feeling the strength of your glutes and the backs of the legs as you lift. The articulation of your spine as you roll down, the strength of your tummy to help push that low back into the mat. Let's do 3 more of those. Watch that the knees don't try to swing away from each other. Energetically roll, moving the thighs towards one another as you do this. Last one. And then we'll pause, hips in the air, equal weight in all corners of the feet. Gaze up. One more breath. And then roll down. Now let's roll over to our left side and warm up the opposite hip. Okay. Check that the knees bent, feet in line with the hips, supporting the head in some way, pillow block. And then clams. Lifting top knee, feet stay together. Closing the clam. Keep moving. Nice thing about moving slow in this too, you get to really explore what's going on in the hip and the muscles of the hip. Here we're strengthening the piriformis. This is the muscle that helps swing the leg open. Good muscle to strengthen for tree pose, for warrior two pose. And then just notice, bring the top hand to your top hip if you haven't already. Is the whole body moving with this? We want to isolate this movement in the hip. So, nice thing about remembering how everything changes is you can remember the things that you don't like, anything that you are currently experiencing. There's that phrase, this too will pass. Good, knees together. Now let's do the door hinges. So just lifting the foot nice and slow and lowering the foot. And just what is that top hip doing? We don't want it to be swinging back and forth. We just keeping it stable, only lifting the foot as high as we're able to isolate this movement. All phenomenon arises and passes. Few more rounds of this. Stay in touch with the quality of your breath. And then rest. Let's work on the arm. Big circles. What's pleasurable? Maybe little circles. And of course, you're always welcome to, in this movement or any pose, please stay and indulge in anything that feels good. Maybe you catch up to us later if you find something that feels really yummy for you today and you need to stay longer. And then going other direction. Notice what muscles are active or relaxed in the face. Good. And then let's come on to hands and knees. Moving through a little cat-cow. And then I'd like you to pause in cat, rounding the back, broadening the upper back in particular, parting the shoulder blades. Let your head hang heavy. And straighten those elbows if you can. Spread your fingers wide. Of course, you're always welcome to bring your hands into fists if the wrists are feeling sensitive. Let the head dangle and say yes and no. Nodding the head no. Relax the face, relax the mouth. Good. Now, keep the upper back rounded, but start to move into a cow pose, moving into back bend, starting with your tailbone. So lifting the tail, head's the last thing to lift. Drawing chest down towards the floor, shoulder blades move back, and then head lifts. Here you are in cat pose. Couple breaths here, gazing forward. Keep breathing. Excuse me, I'm having some set situation. That's not too loud. Can you get your shoulder blades a little closer together and away from the ears? And play around. Maybe looking straight forward or up feels really good today. Maybe you look down just a little bit. 2 more breaths. And then sit back on your heels, child's pose. Walk your arms as far away from the body as you can. Reach, reach, reach. Elbows straight and off the mat. Really active child's pose. The knees can be together apart, your choice. Breathe. And then come on up through hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Let's stretch out the bottoms of the feet. Toes tucked. You might just find tucking the toes here and doing this is like plenty sensation. Come to any position that feels like a nice edge for you. So here, maybe here, maybe here. Some people like to even be like, woo. So wherever you are, 3 breaths. This too shall pass. Right. Stretching the soles of the feet. Last spacious breath. And then release. Untuck the toes, slap the tops of the feet. Ooh. Okay, come on up to stand. Ooh, let me adjust. Okay. Mountain pose. I'm going to show you my profile. We're going to begin in mountain pose, but then move in and out of a half sun salutation. And if any of you are familiar with Vinny Yoga, this is a Vinny Yoga half sun salutation, and he does it by bringing hands to the backs of the thighs. So hands stay on the backs of the thighs and the backs of the legs the entire time. And I want this will hopefully encourage you to bend the knees as you come down. So how bent they are just depends on what's going on in your body. Take a moment though, just check to make sure that your feet are hips width distance apart and toes are pointing forward. And then broaden the chest, and on an exhale, bend the knees, lead with your heart, and slide your hands down the backs of the legs. Keep the chest broad as long as you can. Exhale, exhale. Hands come down towards the heels or to the heels. Gaze between the knees, let the head go. And then on an inhale, you're going to come halfway up. Knees are slightly bent. Hands come to the backs of the knees, broad chest. How long can you get your spine in horizontal? Exhale, slide the hands down the backs of the legs, let your head go, gaze between the knees. And we're going to come back up on the next inhale. Keep those knees slightly bent. Inhale, slide the hands up the backs of the legs and come up. Take a moment. Here we go again. Exhale. Slide the hands down, backs of the legs, broad chest. At the bottom of the breath, we let the head go. Come halfway up on the inhale, press the feet into the floor, broad chest, long spine. Exhale, slowly slide the hands down the backs of the legs, let it go. With the inhale, we come all the way up, open chest, knees bent till we get to standing. Take a free breath. Once more. Exhale. Coming down. Inhale, halfway. Spinal extension. Exhale. Bring it down. Let the head go. From here, you're welcome to rest your fingertips on something. Maybe there's a block. You could even turn over to your chair. Some of you might enjoy holding on to either elbow. Your choice. Make it breathable. One more breath. Let the head go. And then bring the hands to the backs of the legs. Here we go. Coming on up. Knees bent. Nice and slow. Tadasana. Mountain pose. Couple breaths. Okay, let's come to our chair. Sit on the edge of the seat. Warrior 2. Swing your left foot out, creating a right angle with the left leg. Right foot can come, just stay in front. We're going to just focus on the left leg for right now. If you want to do regular old Warrior 2 standing, please do. Inhale, extend your arms east and west. Chest and hips are square, facing the front of the chair. Press some weight into that front foot, that left foot. And then open the shoulders nice and wide. Can you move your shoulder blades a little closer together as the tops of the shoulders get heavy away from the ears? Gazing over the left hand. Feeling the strength of this pose. Good. In the side angle pose. Bring the left elbow to left thigh, sweep right arm, bicep overhead, creating that side angle. If you've got some shoulder stuff, you might even want to just bring the hand to the hip, that right hand, no problem. You could, or maybe the arm out to the side, what feels like a good fit for you today. Those of you who can do the full expression of the side angle, go ahead and do it. We're keeping the chest broad and turning the heart actually to the right slightly. Nothing is fixed in this experience. Nothing stays the same. Even our body day to day, moment to moment. Our body at the beginning of class will be different than our body at the end. Right, and then come on up. Come to a seat. Bring both feet forward. Other side. Step the right foot out. You're up on the edge of your seat, Opening the arms, broad chest. Check that the trunk is square with the front of the chair. Lifting up out of the waist and gazing over the right hand. You can even play around. Sometimes we lean a little bit more to the right or the left, finding your center. Imagine your spine like an antenna connecting you to the planet and the heavens above. Feel your breath. Side angle pose, your style. Maybe we sweep that left bicep over ear, or we find a modification for our shoulder if we need it. Big thing here is we're inviting a stretch into the side body. We're keeping both sides of the waist long, and we're keeping the chest open. It's a slight twist to the left. Easy breath. And when I first started studying kind of this idea of things constantly changing, nothing is the same, it was like, of course, that's right. Of course, everything changes. I know that. But upon a deeper examination of how I live my life, I realized I don't behave all the time like I know things change. I grasp on to things I like. I grasp on to things I don't like, thinking that they're going to last forever. Speaking of, we should get out of this. Come on up. And then have a seat. Feel your breath. Okay, come on up to stand. I can't figure out how to do triangle pose in a chair, so we're going to do it actually with the assistance of the chair. I'd like you to stand up, and we're going to take the left foot, take the feet wide, left toes pointing out, right toes, you can turn them in slightly, and the heels, imagine that they're on the same line. There's a line on your mat, and they're both there. Okay. Now we have the back of the chair behind us because I'd like to invite you to keep your chest open for this position. The tendency, it's very common to want to just see how close to the floor I can get, and it becomes a little bit more of like a cherry picker pose. That's beneficial for a lot of things. However, I'd like you to explore trying this one, this variation. So hands to hips, swing your hips to the back of the mat and reach your heart away from the waist as you lean to the left. Left fingertips, going to just tickle the chair behind you, lots of strength in the leg, and right arm comes up. Here we are. As I said, just tickling the chair behind you. We're not leaning onto that hand. Ooh. Lots of strength in those legs. That's what's helping you stay up. You can gaze forward, or some people like to look at the hand if that feels okay for your neck. One more breath. Hips swinging to the right. And then come on up. And let's switch sides. Wide step. Right leg is in front of the seat of the chair. Turn your toes out. Right toes out, left toes in. Open the arms up. Check that those heels are in line with each other. And swing the hips to the back of the mat as you reach, reach, reach. Right fingertips tickle the chair behind you. Left arm reaches up. And this is just kind of helping lean our chest back. Strong legs. So even in this pose, you might find yourself having opinions about it. Are you grasping onto the pleasure, or feeling like this goes on forever? Grasping onto that idea. Last breath. And then come on up. Mountain pose. Good. Feeling the pace of your breath. Okay. Tree. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Lean your weight into your right foot and lift your left heel. Ooh. Swing the left heel to the left ankle as you turn the left knee out. Here we're doing it's like we're doing clams again. Broad chest pressing into the knuckles of your thumb. Now you're welcome to stay here, gazing at something eye level, or some of you might enjoy pressing the foot into the inseam of the leg, lifting it up a little bit higher, either above or below the knee. We'll be here for the next 3 breaths. There's always any arm variation you like. Maybe the arms want to be overhead. Really take a nice slow, full inhale. And then exhale, mountain pose. Second side. Weight in left foot. Finding your variation of Vrikshasana, tree pose. Uh, do press that standing foot into the floor. Lift up out of that standing leg. Tummy's in. Foot either on ankle or above or just knee. Ooh. Pressing the foot seam of the leg. Last breath. And then mountain pose. On an inhale, sweep your arms up. Reach, reach, reach. With the exhale, bring the hands to the backs of the legs. And we'll do that Vinny forward fold, Vinny yoga. Bending the knees, sliding the hands. They take an elevator to the heels or towards the heels, right? Maybe the hands don't go that far. That's totally fine. On the inhale, come halfway up. Knees are slightly bent. Inhale. Reach your heart away from your waist. And then the exhale, come on down. Fingertips touch something. Let the head go. Gaze between the thighs. Again, let those knees bend, particularly if the backs of the legs feel tight, or if you have back pain or tightness in your back. A knee bend in a forward fold can do a lot of magic. And then this time we'll just roll up the spine 1 vertebrae at a time. So bending those knees, rolling up, let your head be heavy, rolling up, stacking those vertebrae like a stack of coins. Head's the last thing to come up. Mountain pose. Okay, let's come on to our belly. Let's see. Yeah. Preparing for a few back bends. So coming onto the belly, walk your hips away from your shoulders. We want to lengthen the spine as much as we can. Tops of the feet are on the floor. Okay, and then bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Rest your forehead down on the mat for a second. And with an inhale, lift up, little baby cobra. Hug elbows in. Just the back is working here. On the exhale, come on down and bring your right cheek to the mat. Let your butt relax. Now, lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Feel your glutes firm up. And with the next inhale, lift back up, baby cobra, broad chest. Just the back muscles are working. And in fact, I could ask you to lift your hands and you wouldn't move. You'd stay in the same spot, little baby cobra. One more round of breath. And then coming back down, this time left cheek to the mat. Relax. Good. Let's do that one more time. Feet down, chest lifts, strong glutes. Reach, reach, reach. And if you didn't lift your hands that last time, do it this time. Elbows in, hands lifted, back body strong. Check that the chin isn't trying to give you the baby cobra, rather the chest is. So the chin's slightly towards the throat. One more breath here. And then exhale. Bring your body to the mat, relax. You can shimmy your hips. You could wag your feet behind you. Couple breaths. Okay. So we're going to flip over on our back, but you're going to need your uh, rope or yoga strap or towel, uh, something to extend your arms. Whoop. Coming onto your back. Knees together, feet are wide. Constructive rest pose, just taking a moment, letting the low back broaden after those back bends. Walk your legs together, and I'm going to have you cross your legs like you're sitting cross-legged. So tightly wrapping right thigh over left. You're going to grab both knees for Gomukhasana. So you were like reclined Gomukhasana. Here I am, grabbing both knees. And this is where you would, if you can't grab both knees, you would grab like a strap or something and you would wrap them around the shins. Let your pelvis get heavy on the mat, your belly relax. You might, well, hopefully you'll find a stretch in the hips here, maybe a deepening of the right thigh bone in the socket. So there's no space between my thighs here. This is not a figure four legs. This is cow face pose, reclined. And then from here, we're going to turn this into a quad stretch, the top of the thigh stretch. So we're going to stretch the top of the bottom thigh. The way we're going to do it is we're going to either grab a hold of that bottom foot, or this is where our rope or strap comes in handy. We're going to wrap it around that bottom foot. You're going to bring the bottom knee to the floor. And I'm either got a rope around my bottom foot or I'm holding it with my right hand.
And then I'm pausing here. Some people find that keeping their top knee like straight up is the place to be. Some folks enjoy sending their top knee out to the right for this position. It slightly changes the pose. Wherever you are, keep breathing. And of course, remembering this too shall pass, good or bad. Good. Okay. So now we're going to release. Bring both feet to the mat, knees bent. Cross your left thigh over your right. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So sitting really cross-legged, holding onto the knees and pulling them into the chest, or having a rope or a towel across the shins to help draw them towards the chest. Letting the back of the pelvis get heavy. There's no space between my thighs. Take about 3 more breaths in this posture. And then we'll move to the top of the thigh stretch, to the quadriceps stretch. So we're going to lasso our bottom foot with our left hand or with some sort of item. Left hand to bottom foot. And then slowly letting the bottom knee drop towards the floor. The bottom knee is pointing the opposite direction of your head as much as you can. Of course, it may not for some folks, that's totally fine, but you're moving in that direction. That's how you locate the stretch often. And then here, feeling into your breath. You might stay here with the top knee. You might enjoy swinging top knee out, kind of opening up the groin a little bit here. Your choice. Let's stay here for about 3 to 4 breaths. Everything changes. Great, and then you're gonna release and extend your right leg towards the ceiling. Either lasso the right foot with a rope or something or a belt, or you can interlace the hands behind the right thigh, stretching out the backs of the legs. You'll increase the stretch by drawing the toes towards the face. Now here we go. Now we're moving into reclined pigeon or figure 4 legs. The right ankle on top of left thigh. There is a space between my legs now, and you'll just draw the bottom thigh in towards the chest. Again, maybe a rope is needed. The top foot is flexed, and the head is heavy on the floor. Breathe out through the mouth for this, if you like, to help relax the pelvis, relax the hips. Second side. Right foot to the floor. Extend left leg towards the sky. You may just bring the hands behind the thigh. You may lasso the foot.
Now next, moving into pigeon pose, bringing left ankle on right thigh. Keep that left foot flexed, drawing the legs to the body. Feeling your breath. So continuing to come back to remembering the fleeting nature of everything. This can not only help us when we're experiencing things we don't like, but it also can help us really savor and remember how precious the things we do like are. It helps us come back and be present to what is pleasurable, knowing that it will change. And then release both feet to the floor. Next, we're going to do a bridge pose, arms alongside the body, heels underneath knees. Go ahead and lift on up, feeling all four corners of both feet pressing down into the floor. Keep the gaze looking at the ceiling, and you're welcome to interlace your fingers underneath you to open the chest if you like. Keep the throat open as well. About one more breath here. And then slowly release, rolling down. Take a moment, feel the floor. And then extend your arms and legs away from each other. A big morning stretch. Eventually hugging knees into chest and rock side to side. Massage the low back. Next, we're going to come into relaxation pose. You're welcome to lay flat, or if you like, you could support your back body with some pillows or blocks in order to open our chest. So the goal here is to have something that supports the upper back and the back of the head while the rest of the body remains on the floor. Particularly, we're looking for something that our shoulders can kind of hang off either side of. My pillow here is kind of thin, and that's helpful for that. So we're coming back down, rear on the floor, legs on the floor. You don't want to have the head hanging off the pillow again. We want to have the head supported. And then here you can have pillows behind your knees to keep the knees slightly bent, or you can keep the feet on the floor and the knees bent. Again, regular Savasana is great. If you want to do legs up the wall, that's great too. Find a place that feels comfortable and supportive for you. And then just softening your body, relaxing. Closing the eyes, feel the breath. And as we make our way into relaxation pose, I'd like to share with you a quote from the Tao Te Ching. Do you want to improve the world? I don't think it can be done. The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you'll lose it. There is a time for being ahead. There's a time for being behind. A time for being in motion. A time for being at rest. A time for being vigorous. A time for being exhausted. A time for being safe. a time for being in danger. The master sees things as they are without trying to control them. She lets them go their own way and resides at the center of the circle. And now residing at the center of your circle, allowing things to be just as they are. The preciousness of this moment. Savasana. Deepening your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes until you're ready for another big morning stretch. Extending arms and legs away from the body. Big breath in, getting long. And then with an exhale, gently draw the knees into the chest and roll to one side. Using your arms to push you up to a comfortable seat. We'll meet with our palms together in front of our heart. If you cultivated any feelings of pleasure, relaxation, peace, preciousness in this class, I encourage you to think of someone in your life you'd like to send this goodness to. See this being clearly in your mind. See their face. And then with an inhale, we'll gather up all this goodness. And with an exhale, send it out. See this being wherever they are in their day, smiling, feeling good in their body, heart, and mind. And rejoicing in the preciousness of this moment, preciousness of this life. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.